be here. So I'll let you kick it off, and thank you again to everyone for joining us here for Hispanic Heritage Month. And we're so happy to celebrate with you all the accomplishments of the Latinos, Latinx people here in this country, and also the contributions that they have made to the credit union industry. So thank you again for being here, and Perla, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Perla Oclas. I am NACUP's new programs director. I'm very excited to be here today, presenting you and kicking off our Hispanic Heritage Month celebration after the exciting announcement we had last Friday, announcing that we are back with our conference. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you so much for being patient and being graceful given our technical difficulties. Very excited to be sharing with you a little bit about why it's important to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. And we're also going to be discussing great Hispanic Latinx figures who have made really amazing contributions, cultural contributions and contributions in our society. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here, and we are going to kick it off. So for introduction, we have our Hispanic Heritage Month. It's celebrated annually in the United States, and it honors the contributions, achievements, culture, and history of Hispanic and Latinx community. It is observed from September 15th to October 15th of each year. Just as a reminder, this is our intro webinar, but we are going to be having a webinar every Friday up until October 15th. So we're going to have great topics in there too. So I encourage you to sign up and register, as we're going to be having some amazing topics in there. Why is it celebrated from September 15th to October 15th each year? It is celebrated from those dates. Just to give you a little bit of a historical background, so Hispanic Heritage Month started in 1968. And it was a week-long celebration before that. It eventually expanded to up to a month. Back in 1988. So it was first established in President Lyndon Johnson, and then back in 1988 by Ronald Reagan, it was expanded to a month-long celebration. Reason being, because September 15th marks the independence of several countries in Latin America. For example, on September 15th, we celebrate Independence Day for mostly countries in Central America, like El Salvador, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua. I'm from Honduras. So if there's any Hondurans on the call, I'm very excited to meet you. And we celebrated this past September 15th, our Independence Day in several countries in Central America. So because we gained independence for Spanish colonial rule in 1821, so we celebrated 202 years of independence this past Friday. September 16th is actually Mexico's Independence Day. So it's actually an event to commemorate the beginning of the Mexican War of Independence in 1810. September 18th is Chile's Independence Day. Very important to highlight this because a lot of people don't know that there are countries in South America that actually celebrate Independence Day during Hispanic Heritage Month. And October 12th is Dia de la Raza, or Columbus Day, which is a national holiday here in the United States too. It has a lot of historical significance, and it's just a day of reflection and discussion, cultural discussion in connection to the colonization of the Americas. Now we're going to be moving to the fun part. So we are going to be highlighting some individual figures that have contributed to our arts, to our music, also some political figures, and we're going to be highlighting those and giving you a little bit of background information on these amazing Hispanic Latinx individuals. So we have notable Hispanic Latinx musicians who have made amazing contributions. Carlos Santana. So Carlos Santana, he was born and raised in Mexico. He he plays guitar. He has his own band called Santana for those rock fans right here. He pioneered a fusion of um, rock and roll in Latin America in Latin American jazz. Then we have, of course, Celia Cruz. So Celia Cruz, she's a Cuban singer. She's one of the most popular artists of the 20th century. Um, she, of course, was born and raised in La Habana, Cuba. We also have Shakira. So Shakira, she's a Colombian singer and songwriter. She was born in Barranquilla too. She is considered the queen of Latin music. Um, of course, she has done a lot of contributions for society. She's also a very talented songwriter um, as well. She made her musical debut at age 13, and she's been an inspiration for a lot of upcoming Latin Americans, Latinx Hispanic artists. And last but not least, we also have Selena Quintanilla. So she was an American Tejano singer. She's considered the queen of Tejano music. Other than music contributions, she has also made fashion contributions as well, and she is one of the most celebrated Mexican American entertainers of the late 20th century. All those Selena fans in my call. We have also several figures that have made artistic contributions. We have Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo, she is very famous for her portraits and self-portraits. She's made her husband, also Diego Rivera, Mexican descent, also one of the most famous artists in Mexico. Her art is inspired by the nature and artifacts of Mexico. She painted modern art, symbolism, magical realism, and she is one of the most famous and impactful painters in history. We also have Fernando Botero. He's actually a Colombian artist and sculptor. He was born in Medellin. His signature style, he implemented himself. It's known as boterismo. So what he does is actually he paints people and he paints figures at a larger scale. So it's like an exaggerated art. It's very humoristic. If you have not checked out his art, I encourage you to do so. Unfortunately, we lost him September 15th of this year. He passed away. So I encourage you to do some research on him. He was a great artist with very humoristic and also political criticisms too. So one of the most impactful artists of our era as well. We also have Joaquin Torres Garcia. He's Uruguayan and Spanish. He's an artist, sculptor, and muralist. He was born in Montevideo, Uruguay. He grew up in Spain and began his career as an artist there. Now we have literature, one of my favorite topics here. We have several notable Hispanic Latinx writers like Julio Cortázar. So Julio Cortázar, he is Argentinian descent. He was a French novelist and a short story writer. He pretty much influenced an entire generation of Spanish-speaking readers and writers in all America and Europe. I encourage you to check out some of his books. Great writer. One of his most famous books is Casa Tomada. Um, and another famous book of his is La Noche Boca Arriba. So I encourage you to check out his writing for sure. He impacted and influenced a lot of the literature in the upcoming year. And then, of course, we have Isabel Allende. So she is a Chilean writer. She her most famous novel, I believe, is The House of Spirits or La Casa de los Espíritus. Um, she is she has she has made such an impact in Latinx women in literature. She's such an inspiration. She's such a good writer. I encourage you to check out some of her writing. Recently, I read her um, latest book. It's called Violeta. So very fun book. It's about a woman who was born during the Spanish flu and lived 100 years. So she lived both pandemics. So she lived from 1920 to 2020. So it's her story and how she navigated the Spanish flu and then everything like repeated itself in 2020 with COVID. So very fun book. I encourage you to read it for sure. And then we have Mario Vargas Llosa. So he is a Peruvian. He was a Peruvian journalist and former politician as well. He is actually a Nobel Prize winner for literature. He has some famous books like The Time of the Hero and the War of the End of the World. So it's also nice to highlight that we have amazing Hispanic, Latinx descent Nobel Prize winners for literature. And of course, for politics, we wanted to highlight as well Sonia Sotomayor. So she's actually the first woman who the first Latinx Hispanic woman descent. She was born in New York she's Puerto Rican descent, and she was the first Hispanic woman and the third woman in general to serve on a high court. We wanted to highlight her as well because she has made such an impact in society, and she has actively fought for the protection of affirmative action programs. So she's an advocate for the Hispanic Latinx community in every aspect. So we want to highlight her, and we're grateful that we have representation in such a high court. So why Hispanic Latinx heritage is important in today's world. It shapes culture, it shapes politics and society in various ways. We are Our culture is so rich in tradition, languages, and history. And it's just important that we highlight those things and we celebrate those things. And I think Hispanic Latinx individuals, they have contributed so much culturally and you know innovating and in various aspects, not only what we mentioned here today, but also sports as well. They play pivotal roles in politics, constantly advocating for immigration reform, civil rights, and social justice. Hispanic and Heritage Month is a dynamic force that fosters inclusivity and celebrates diversity and strengthens the global community. I'm very happy that you all are here today with me here in this call, learning so much about all the contributions these amazing individuals have made to our culture and to the world. And let's see. So this is a month-long celebration. It encourages cross-cultural exchange and collaboration, facilitating dialogue and unity among different communities. It also provides a platform for Hispanic and Latino voices to be heard, amplifying their stories and experiences. This recognition helps combat stereotypes and discrimination while promoting the value of um, culturalism. I Because this month celebration, like for example, it just makes me happy just seeing, because this opens the space for questions as well. People are curious about our cultures and about our traditions, and if this celebrations can foster unity among our communities, it's just a very warming thing to see. For sure. And also serving as a reminder of the importance of recognizing and celebrating different backgrounds, diverse backgrounds that make the United States of America. United States is one of the most diverse countries, if not the most diverse country in the world. So it encourages respect, unity, and cultural appreciation, and just gives us the environment to be more inclusive and be a more respectful society, between all of us. So I am going to open up for questions, or maybe I can ask you guys the questions. Well, what is one thing that you, this is this the correct video? Okay, let me see. What is one thing that you learned today? I'm looking at the chat. I'm sorry. See,
Oh,
this is
he,
significant.
the death of Pablo Escobar. I was thinking it was for some reason another
Oh,
Pablo, but that image, I just looked it up. Everyone on the call, if you want to look up that image, it is quite crazy and a very reminiscence of how it happened, I think. So
yes.
that is a good one.
Yes, it's
Then
one of the most popular art paintings by Botero, by Fernando Botero. This is this. Is it okay?
I'll, I'll mention something, Bella. I think it's funny how Frida Kahlo is mentioned often within the Hispanic Latinx contributions, but her husband, who really is who
An
you know
amazing
has
artist.
done a lot of work, Diego Rivera, has sort of stayed not behind the scenes because he's pretty famous, but anytime you know, you think of Frida Kahlo, I often forget. Oh, also she was married to Diego Rivera, who did
Twice.
some amazing murals. And when I was back in Mexico last 2 years ago, I went to see one of his murals in Mexico, and it was just mesmerizing. So Diego Rivera did so many contributions to the art world. He painted a lot of famous people too. Another one, I Sonia Sotomayor. I just think that it's phenomenal that we have representation in the highest of courts.
Yes.
And she has been such an advocate for a lot of things that matter to me personally, but I know probably mattered to a lot of you here on the call today. So I just really wanted to highlight that because I remember when she was named this part of the Supreme Court, like I actually cried a little bit because I was like, I can't believe that we can see ourselves now in the Supreme Court. So I just want to highlight her as well. And then, if I'm sure everyone probably has listened to Selena Quintanilla, but if you have not, please do yourself a favor, because even if you don't speak Spanish, her music is just phenomenal. And what, 30 years, no, 20 something years later, we're still dancing to her songs. Like, seriously, they're played at every Latino party I think you can go on. So and her songs are such good cleaning songs. Like, when you want to clean, I just put Selena on and it's a blast. So I encourage you to take a listen to her. And I know some of
Funny
you.
story. Funny story. So yesterday was my birthday. So I every Thursday I go do karaoke. And sure enough, it's somebody decided to sing a Selena song, and there was not a single person in the restaurant that did not know that song. So
Yes.
everybody was singing. It completely changed the mood. It completely changed the room. It got people out of their comfort zones. And for me, that's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Adolfo, I love that you mentioned Los Tigres del Norte, because I also feel like they sing about immigrant rights so much, and I did not pick that up until I was older. Sad story now that you Bella, you had a happy story, but sad story. My dad would listen to them so much, and I would catch him crying, and I was like, why is this man crying to this music? And now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, that is some deep, lyrics to like just the contributions of immigrants and the struggles, and it's crazy. I love Los Tigres del Norte. I want to see them live. Yes. SB said immigrant rights, journey, and struggles
And
in the.
struggles in the US. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love Los Tigres del Norte. Please engage in the chat. I love this conversation we're having. I mean, I know it was a short presentation, but really here is the idea that, you guys get to learn a little bit more about the culture. And if you are from Latin American, that you feel celebrated. I also want to have the message that we get 1 month out of the year, just like many other underrepresented communities, but the work that we do and the representation that we have in this country is every day. And so I hope that even after Hispanic Heritage Celebration Month, you keep your Latinx employees in mind, and you continue to support them. You continue to learn about our culture and what the differences are, and how to respect this culture that I know a lot of us hold dear to our hearts. Even though we live in this country, we still carry a lot of that cultural significance with us in our immigration journey. So I did want to highlight that. If you're ever in Guanajuato, stop by the there. Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that there was a Diego Rivera house in Guanajuato. I know that there's a Frida Kahlo one close to Mexico City. See, that's again like Frida Kahlo has taken over a lot of it. Um, yes, Alfredo, the Frida Kahlo drama about 2 years ago was crazy to me, and I have mixed feelings. I understand where a lot of folks are coming from that, but also I think it was very important for little girls to see a Barbie that looks like them, different toys. I mean, I didn't even have that growing up, what, 15, 17 years, I don't know, however long ago when I was a young child. So I feel like even though she might have some problematic ideas at that time of her life, I think she still, it's a good representation, at least here in America, so that little girls can feel identified. So that's my take on that. Serious, amiga. Oh, that's so awesome. I need to make a trip to Mexico again. Hopefully this year I get around to it. But you guys should look into the Frida Kahlo controversy. And also, a lot of people assume that she was a non-binary person, which is really interesting to see. And you can see that in the way she dresses and stuff of that sort. Is what some critics have, or people who analyze artists have said. So yeah. Oh, football. Scott May is
I missed
saying,
this live
I
celebrating
know.
Messi.
We did forget about soccer. I mean, it's the number one sport for us.
Sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, we're not Barcelona on this call. So
Yeah.
see. It's football. It's football. It's not soccer. It's
Oh,
football.
look at this. The Frida. Yeah, these murals and coffee shops have been appearing everywhere. We have local ones here too where I live, and it's interesting. Now, I have to say, since she became popular, my eyebrows became popular. So that was a pro, okay? I was bullied for having thick eyebrows for so long. And now I'm like, oh, proudly displaying my Frida Kahlo eyebrows.
Oh, that's such a nice picture. It is.
We have, Perla covered the gist of some contribution, Latinx contribution folks and some of the things, but we have such a rich culture and so many people to celebrate. I think often for so long we didn't have that. I mean, even though Hispanic Heritage Month has been in existence for a really, really long time, I don't feel like it was as celebrated back even when I was growing up as it is now. And it makes me so happy that I can see like schools and different organizations incorporating a celebration for Hispanic Heritage Month, Latinx. And so um, I'm really happy that we're doing this. And I know that some of you guys may have already known this information, but I know that a lot of others don't. So we wanted to just highlight a few of the contributions. What are some of the ways we can appreciate, educate, and bring Latinx and Hispanic culture in our credit union branches this month? Oh, uh, it's encouraging people to be themselves, right? Like I think, and obviously they're gonna do a good job at this because they're Latino Community Credit Union here in North Carolina. I've been following their social media pages, and every day, I mean, they live the Hispanic Heritage Month, but especially right now, they are doing potlucks and everybody's bringing a dish from a different country. And I think food has always been the key to a lot of the things that Latinx families do. And I think bringing that to your workplace really encourages and fosters that community connection. I think another thing that you can do is start supporting them and their names. I, for the longest, and still maybe today, I still do this. I don't use my two last names because I feel like it's complicated for people. And I feel like people are not going to be able to pronounce my two last names. So I just keep it as simple as I can. But I think that we should bring awareness to that and ask people if they have another last name and if they would want that on their emails and titles and stuff of that sort. Little changes like that can really help people feel seen and celebrated. And I think that that's a good way to approach it. Perla, do you have thoughts?
Yes, I was scrolling at LinkedIn the other day and I saw a branch from a credit union that kicked off celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month and they were serving conchas and coffee. That made me so happy because it's like food brings us together and it's such an important part of our culture. And I've also been seeing some other credit unions highlighting this month their Hispanic professionals, Hispanic Latinx professionals and all of the contributions they've made towards the credit union and the credit union movement in general. So those are some ways that you can celebrate and educate and appreciate your um Latinx coworkers, Latinx friends um on this month. So
Yeah,
I think Alexis had her hand raised. Did you wanted to say something?
yeah, go ahead, Alexis. Let me see. Allow mic. Are
I
you
can't
there?
unmute. Yeah.
Perfect. No, that works. You had to give
Okay,
me
great.
the right to. I wanted to share, and that was a great question that who was that? That someone raised. Is it Hallie raised? Because here at I work at Self Help Federal Credit Union, and one thing that we've done, we were intentional this year to honor and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month and across our entire footprint. So I'm in Pittsburgh, California today, and so we have our Hispanic heritage. flags that are up to represent 21 countries, right? It's not just one.
Amazing.
And we have a lot of leaders that are just from one country and they didn't realize, so it's become educational for other people, right, to even know that they're Latinx, but that other countries is also celebrating at this time of the year as well. So it's really uncovered and opened up the conversation for staff members, but also for our members. And I'll speak openly and candidly. For me, I saw this lady, she saw us as we were starting to decorate. We were a little behind, don't judge me. But she came in and she started speaking Spanish, and just from a visual, she just looked like a white lady, right? I'm gonna be transparent, y'all. Y'all don't know me yet. Um, and she's speaking Spanish, and then come to find out she's actually her grandparents are from Spain, and she was just in Madrid and spending time over there. And another member walked in who hadn't been in the branch in a long time, also is from Spain. And it was like, wow, like it really. And so she looked for her flag, like, where's my flag at? Wanting to see that representation. So I appreciate us being able to be a part of the credit union movement at this time to continue to unfold and uncover and educate, and using this as conversations to share inside of our communities and with the world. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Alexis. Also, if anybody else wants to speak, just raise your hand and I can unmute you. Um, that is insightful. And I will say, Alexis, a lot of people have a one generic view of how a Hispanic person looks or a Latino looks, and it's just not the case. So never assume that someone, like Alexis said, someone can look completely white and still be from Latin America. I mean, I know in Mexico, if you know, you know, people from Guanajuato and people from Guadalajara often look white, but people just don't assume that about Mexican folks. And
Yeah.
so because you have this preconception of what a Hispanic Latinx person should look like. So even like I often get mistaken by Indian or from the Middle East, and I'm like, no, like I'm Latina. Like a lot of us do look like I look over there. So that's very important. And yes, there is more to Latin America than just Mexico. And I know that, in the past, people use Mexicans to just, I guess lump all the Latinos together, but we have 21 countries. And so just don't assume that someone's Mexican. I think the kind thing to always do is to ask.
Yes.
And that's a great thing. And Adolfo Prado said that for their ERGs, they're actually playing loteria events. Oh my gosh, loteria is so fun. A cooking class. Oh my gosh, you guys are doing a lot. A Dia de los Muertos celebration. And Dia de los Muertos celebrations are so awesome, but please don't culturally appropriate them. I will say that. I will have to be the one to say that. It's such a intense process for people who have lost their loved ones in our countries, and it's a religious practice, and sometimes not even dating back before religion became a part of these countries. So if you want to learn how to do it properly, I don't say that you're not allowed to do it. I'm just saying learn the proper way to do it, and always seek help from your Latinx friends and community, so that you're honoring this tradition the right way, because it is a tradition and it is something that Latin American countries take very seriously, and they don't feel like it's a party. If you've ever been part of one of them back in these countries, you can tell the emotion behind it, the sacredcy of it. So I really wanted to highlight that for Dia de los Muertos. And random thought, I am looking at offering financial education to our Hispanic Latinx members and community. Is there someone on the call that has had success in developing programming? I would love to connect. Alfredo, I would also love for you to post that question in our community research page so that other people can learn from it. If you don't have access to that, just send me an email and I'll get you access to that. Yes, Latino Community Credit Union does a great job at it. I want to announce this, I guess maybe prematurely, but next year, look at we're going to have some cultural training for frontline staff for credit unions. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be like a week-long workshop that we will be doing, because a lot of the feedback that I have been receiving is that sometimes the frontline staff does not know how to engage with the members properly and how to culturally serve them, because we have different needs and different ways to be served. So Perla, our programs director, is preparing this workshop, and we're gonna have amazing speakers and people teaching you all the how to properly or properly address your Latinx members. So I hope that you all can join us for that as well. Alfredo, you're communicating. Let me see if there's more questions. Yep, you guys are just networking there. Yay, I love that. Um, we still have a few more minutes, guys. So if you guys have questions, Alexis, you have your hand raised again. Do you want me to unmute you? Let me see. No, you're already unmuted. So
Yeah. Yes, so just stay tuned. We're coming up with this amazing cultural training. And it's going to be a wealth of information on how to better serve the Hispanic community, how to properly address your members, because there's so much. Our culture is so rich in so many aspects. And we have, like, Barbara and I we're coworkers, but for me, I'm Honduran, so for me, I address people in vos, whether like Barbara addresses people in a tú. So it's just, a beautiful thing that connects us together. And I feel like it's important um for us to have resources on what are the difference and what makes us different and similar at the same time. So just stay tuned. Um we are going to be announcing it soon, and we're very excited about this program. And this,
I think
okay.
Alexis, is your hand raised, Alexis? Just say yes or no, because I see it there, and I don't want to make sure that we're not giving you the space to talk if you want to say
No,
something.
no. She's, yeah.
Okay, great.
It was from before, yeah.
Okay. Uh, there we go.
It's from
Yeah.
before.
Well, I guess I know you guys are still talking in the chat, so we can stay on. I love that you guys are networking. This is awesome. This is exactly what we want NowCup to be. So I really love this. But you guys, for everyone on the call, if you're a member of NowCup, you do have access to our community resource page where you can post these sort of questions and have other people comment on there, and you can get their contact information. It's a really great resource for you to have, because you're connected with people across the country to ask them questions and just find out information, because as in the credit union industry, as we all know, we're very cooperative, and so we build this to ensure that if you're trying to start something at your credit union, you have resources and other people you can rely on for this sort of information. So please let us know if you don't have access to that and you're a member. Send us an email. I'll go ahead and type in the email right here. And we can definitely work on adding you. So just contact us for any help. And obviously, if you're not a member and you still need help, please reach out, because cooperation is something that we live by, and we want to make sure that at the end of the day, you people are getting served, especially our Latinx communities. So we really are here to serve you all. And I think we can close, give you guys back 10 minutes early. Thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate